Steve Cardenas, a.k.a. Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching SmarkTank Revolution.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SmarkTank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. I am your solo host on this endeavor once again, Joey, getting back to my business. After the sting of the initial fallout from pre-All Out with CM Punk and the news with AEW, I'm getting back in my groove. I took, a night to process what I watched last night in the WWE's latest pay-per-view offering, which was WWE Payback. And like I said before on the CM Punk rant, if you folks want to go listen to that, it might not tickle everyone's fancy, but they were my thoughts and my thoughts alone. And I do feel they're justified. I do stand by them still. I thought Payback was a fantastic show. So to do it some justice, while my cohort, Donnie, is presently viewing All Out at a theater on the big screen, on the silver screen, I figured I would go through the match-by-match recap for your auditory pleasure. So we're going to start with what the opener was for Payback. And I said last night, but I'll say it again, reiterate, it was an absolute banger. They opened up very strong with Trish and Becky in a cage. Now, this feud has been going on since WrestleMania. Well, yeah, a little bit after WrestleMania, when Trish made her turn. It's been a little too long. It was a slow burn. There was some sputters, stop and sputters with, Trish getting injured, booking craziness, them being shuffled on the card, them not being on SummerSlam, which was a travesty. However, I must say, if what we got tonight was a, reward for them being left off the card, then I am wholeheartedly happy, because I would rather them get the time they got tonight to let this breathe and do it properly than to be rushed in a 5-minute cage match on SummerSlam. So let's get into it. They started hot right out the gate, and I think they had a lot to prove, because the online commentary and, opinions haven't been super favorable towards this feud. It started out great. Trish had a banging promo when she turned heel. Very believable. The thank you, Trish thing caught on. I think the introduction of Zoe Stark really, unfortunately, derailed some of the momentum on this. And I know people might disagree with me and say it added a wrinkle, but I really think it derailed it, because this really should be a feud between legend and future Hall of Famer. With Becky and Trish, one-on-one. Woman a mano, womano to womano. I don't know what the woman version of mano a mano is, but that's what it should have been. I understand we're trying to elevate Zoe Stark. She was a promising NXT talent. I just don't get it, folks. Correct me if I'm wrong. She just, to me, she doesn't grab me. I do think her finisher, the Z360, is pretty sick. However, everything else about her, it just screams mid. There's nothing there. And I do think she's kind of shackled Trish a little bit. Rather than Trish elevating her, I think she's pulled Trish down. And tonight we got to see it. For the most part, Zoe wasn't a factor, and they just let Trish and Becky brutally do their thing. And it started out hot right out the gate. I mean, they were really not pulling punches. They went into it. They were waylaying each other. They were making it as vicious as possible, as engaging and entertaining as possible. And it worked. And they went for some sick spots. Listen, Trish is a Hall of Famer, a mother. She is a semi-retired wrestler. She is, famous in her own right with, Stratus Yoga. She's on Hallmark. She's in movies. She's in photo shoots. She's not hurting for work. Trish really put her body at risk tonight and did it spectacularly. Now, they've had some stumbles. I thought their match at Night of Champions was really good, but every encounter or semi-encounter they've had since then has fallen flat. So it was really nice to see them regain some of that spark tonight. And Becky, when, she's on a rampage, she's great. When she gets full man character, she is fantastic. And Trish showed tonight why she's still in the conversation for best of all time for women's wrestling. I'm not even going to say the term divas. I think it demeans people at this point. They have elevated to superstars, to female wrestlers. They are just as good as their male counterparts. And this match was a absolute banger. At the SmarkTank Revolution, we have a weird rating scale, 1, 2, 3 count. Sometimes they give the illustrious 4 count. No Meltzer 5 count yet, but this was fantastic. I watched it again today after digesting it last night live. I still stand by my mark. It's a 3.5 count. It's above and beyond a 3 count. They did fabulous. It made and set the pay-per-view off on one of those double-edged sword tones where it's like, wow, you might have blown your load right at the top of the card. But luckily, spoiler alert, that is not the case. The pay-per-view was pretty good as a whole. However, this was such a standout. I think this should be the blow-off. I think, Becky was the right choice to get the, get the win here, get the W, and blow this off. It looks like she's got, Tiff Strats waiting in the wings, who was curiously in the crowd for the match. And I thought she would have something to do with the outcome, because judging on their little social media tiff back and forth, no pun intended, it looks like we might be getting Becky hopping down to NXT, and that would be a good thing. I am all for current superstars, and I don't even like to call it the main roster, because to me, NXT has gone so far beyond a developmental territory. It's demeaning to call it a developmental territory. I think it's more of a lateral move. I think for Becky to go, let's call it across to NXT, is good for both brands. It will freshen Becky up. It will give Tiffany a real, challenge. I don't know if you would have Becky swipe the title from Tiffany so soon. However, I don't think it would completely crush her, because it's not like a Mandy Rose reign. I know it's just getting started, but it doesn't have that feel. So we'll see. Trish looked fantastic here tonight. She had a really nasty knot on her head. She was growing a horn out of her forehead by the end of the match, which just showed that, goes to show you that the women really put their heart into it tonight, or last night rather, and they really, gave it their all. And when they are given time to breathe on the card and given a spot to shine, they are just as good as any match you can put on. And I stand by that. WWE has some of the most supremely talented women on the planet. Yeah, AEW's got some pretty faces and they've got some decent talent, but they don't hold a candle to WWE as far as I'm concerned with their in-ring capabilities and their all-around capabilities. Trish Stratus showed why she is one of the GOATs. She belongs. I think she's probably due for some time off. I didn't think she was going to stay this long. I doubt we'll get her till Mania. Judging by the end of the match, she looks like she might have a encounter blow off with Zoe Stark, since it looks like Trish turned face at the end of the match, which is the right move. Did her time, did her part, and now let's see what she can do. But I don't know if I would throw her right into a feud with Zoe. She's got to go home and, let that thing go back into her head, because it was pretty nasty. But just to illustrate here, Trish Stratus, at nearly 50 years old, took a superplex off the top of the cage by Becky Lynch. The top of the cage. Most male wrestlers don't take that kind of a bump. Outside of, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and maybe, a few others. So that should just go to show you that, this woman still got it. She took some nasty, nasty drops. And that wasn't the only one. Becky did a guillotine leg drop, which was kind of, you worried on it. They did some really cool spots. They had Trish with the Matrix do the back bend, which, man, she is bendy. She's Gumby. All that yoga helps. And Becky did a boom drop onto her. It was a really good spot. The manhandle slam off the top rope for the finish was a great move and a great way to end it. It was high octane. The doors were blown off for me. I had expectations, but this completely exceeded it. I stand by what I say. 3.5. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers to the women.